Good evening. We welcome you all to the closing ceremony and award function of the 8th edition of the GDGIMUN International Model United Nations Conference, which was held online for the first time. We extend an especially warm welcome to our illustrious chief guest, Ms. Sushma Arora Kapoor, former Deputy Regional Director, South Asian Countries, UN Women, and our Honorable Principal, Mrs. Meenakshi Bhakuni. Today is the apogee of 2 days of enriching interactions involving research, debating, critical thinking, and which were par for the course across all the conference committees. And now it is time to recognize and felicitate the organizers and achievers of the GDGIMUN Conference 2021. The students of GD Goenka Public School Vasant Kunj have actively participated in national as well as international level MUN conferences for the past 11 years and have successfully executed the 8th edition of the GDGI MUN online. This year saw an overwhelming participation of around 30 schools and more than 500 participants with an experienced and proficient executive board comprising college students. The unprecedented success of this year's conference has been possible only because of our principal, Mrs. Meenakshi Bhakuni, and her creative discernment, zestful zeal, and meticulous planning. Under our principal's able guidance and leadership, worked an industrious team of diligent teachers and students. We are grateful to ma'am for her munificent support and constant guidance of this amazing congregation of minds. We at GD Goenka believe in empowering the youth of today for the achievement of universal human rights, peace and security, and sustainable development. As Nelson Mandela has said, a fundamental concern for others in our individual and community lives would go a long way in making the world the better place we so passionately dream of. And hence, we have to become the instruments of change who embody the motto of GDGI MUN, time to act, time to change. I would now like to invite our Director General, Samaksh Chibbar, to share his views.
Cicero once quoted, "Gratitude is not only the greatest of virtues, but the parent of all others." Good evening, Principal Ma'am, Honorable Chair, distinguished delegates, teachers, and esteemed members of the Secretariat. It is my privilege to address you at the 8th edition of GDGI MUN 2021. After 2 days of arguments, resolutions, and agreements, I'm certain that all of you have learned something valuable, something that will stay with you for your entire lives. I was recently told it isn't my day, but it's definitely my year. I've looked forward to this day for quite some time now, say about 5 years. I've treated this speech the same way I treat physics questions from electrostatics. Numerous amount of trial and error with a few cups of black coffee to go along with. But finally, after my friend kept yelling at me every single day in this past month, I wrote this speech just at 4 a.m. today. Now coming to MUNs, I've had a long yet a very life-challenging experience. It all started when I gathered up the little courage I had to finally take a few steps from my class 7D to the MUN teacher's staff room, just to inquire about the upcoming MUNs. I'd go to ma'am every single day without any hesitation, with a plethora of questions to ask her. Pulling off an all-nighter, sitting in front of the laptop for hours, making hundreds of new friends, calling my senior at the most odd times for help. And this list is endless. But most importantly, MUNs taught me to believe in myself, to not see myself through the eyes of others, and what others think about you or what notions they have about you. MUN helped me to put a stop to my constant ruminations and help me to achieve what I had always envisioned. Just to clear it, guys, I'm not suggesting anybody of you should pull an all-nighter. Believe me, it's not a very healthy decision. This one more incident that took place that lives in my heart completely rent-free was at Presidium MUN, where I won my first best delegate for the first time by manipulating the delegate of USA into accepting Syrian refugees from my country. Post this, I remember my dad told me to hold the best delegate check I received, which was larger than size. I mean, absolutely not at this time, and just for a picture. Yesterday only there was this delegate who kept asking me, how to win, how to get a best delegate, how to get a high comp. And I was reminded of this one superstition that was stuck in my mind for a long time. It was the blue kurta that I had borrowed from my mamu, and in which I won my first best delegate. And then I literally wore that kurta for all the upcoming MUNs after that, and I got an award each time until that didn't last long because I outgrew the kurta eventually. I'd like to thank my teachers, parents, and friends who have shaped me into what I am today. To all the secretariat members who have worked day and night for the success of this conference. Lastly, and most importantly, I'd like to say something that really touched my heart. And I quote Maya Angelou: "You only have the right to stand up for yourself, but you have the responsibility. You can't ask somebody else to stand up for yourself if you won't stand up for yourself. And once you stand up for yourself, you'll be surprised when people say, 'Can I help you?' Well, anyway, it's a riot and it's real. With this, I, Samak Shibbar, sign off. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Since time immemorial, music has been a source of joy, hope, and inspiration. And one such piece of music is the song High Hopes, which tells us that it's okay to have high hopes for our future. We shouldn't worry about disappointments and failures because, according to Brendan Urie, we can be incredibly successful if we aim high and work hard to achieve our goals. Ladies and gentlemen, the students of GD Goenka Public School Vasant Kunj present before you the song High Hopes.
Manifest destiny. Back in the days, we wanted everything. Mama said, burn your biographies, rewrite your history, light up your wildest dreams, museum victories. Every day, we wanted everything.
Mama said, don't give up, it's a little complicated. All tied up, no more love, and I'd hate to see you waiting.
Mama said, it's our proof for the Jesus, strangers, crusaders. They never wanna be the weird and then overseas. They would have a change, we wanted everything. Everyone wanted everything. Oh, see up on their eyes, see up on their eyes, and never come down. Oh, see up on their eyes, see up on their eyes, and never come down.
Mama said, don't give up, it's a little complicated. All tied up, no more love, and I'd hate to see you waiting. They say it's all been done, but they haven't seen the best of me. So I got one more run, and it's gonna be a sight to see. Shooting for the stars, but I couldn't make a killing. Didn't have a job, but I always had a vision. Always had high hopes. Didn't know how, but I always had a feeling. I was gonna be there, one in a million. Always had high hopes. Shooting for the stars, but I couldn't make a killing. Didn't have a job, but I always had a vision. Always had high hopes.
What a melodious rendition of High Hopes. I would now like to invite our Director General, Ansh Kapoor, to say a few words.
Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. I, Ansh Kapoor, the Director General of GDGIMUN 2021, stand here overwhelmed with pride and very thankful to each one of you for turning out for this conference. The initial fear and the panic of staying indoors has now shaped itself into the special ingredient that was missing from the recipe of our lives. Being in isolation and confined to the four walls, we took upon ourselves to create an unprecedented platform. However, transforming the idea into reality required a good deal of effort, and various obstacles were encountered. But well, nothing ventured, nothing gained. With these words, creating a beacon, we put our heart and soul into every task. Despite the most tiresome of situations, creative streak coupled with ability and result is for everyone to see. From deciding a target of 300 participants to witnessing participation of more than 500, representing 30 plus schools across the country, I'm delighted to say that we did it. And GDGIMUN 2021 will be a conference to remember. For the success of this amazing conference, first and foremost, I give a shout out to my A1 since day one. That comprises all the teachers who I could fall back on any time and receive unstinting support. Much gratitude to our advisors who constantly helped us raise the bar. Our lifelines, the members of the secretariat, whose team spirit and never say die attitude kept us all afloat. The school management team that helped our hand in every crisis and kept accelerating every moment of us. The support staff that kept the doors open for us at the odd hours. I am extremely fortunate to be a member of this prestigious MUN society, which has forever helped me polish my set of skills. GDGIMUN always aims at stimulating an exceptionally instructive conference that encompasses crucial global issues to enlighten the enterprising delegates. And this time, with its maiden edition of a unique platform, GDGIMUN has set a remarkable bar. Keeping up the spirit and taking inspiration from Brian Herbert, who once said that the capacity to learn is a gift, the ability to learn is a skill, the willingness to learn is a choice. If we are eager to strive tirelessly to do whatever it takes, then each one of us can be a champion. With a wide array of 8 committees, each and every committee at a conference was objectively designed to provide a stellar experience to the young debaters, complete with fruitful engagement, invincible level of discussions, disagreements, and intelligent consensus. We are sure that everyone sitting out there has had something precious to take along. Despite meeting new people, interacting with unfamiliar faces, working in teams to develop resolutions, each one of you exhibited catholicity of personal integrity, discipline, and open-mindedness. My fellow delegates, I know that everyone wants to win and receive an award, but delegates, believe me, MUN is never to be perceived as a competition to win, but as a mode to personal growth. I just cannot forget that day of my first MUN held in a college. In the committee, some college students said that it was not my cup of tea. And by the time I reached home, it had actually become my cup of tea. I felt strongly motivated to go on. Hence, began the journey. Took me 6 years of several MUN conferences to reach this platform. So, dear delegates, since the ground for tomorrow is uncertain, we must rise to the occasion at present, as the future we see lies within our reach. It is indeed time to act, time to change. Thank you.
Thank you, Ansh. Ladies and gentlemen, to acknowledge and appreciate the frenzied hours of discussions, debates, resolutions, and solutions, the international press will now present glimpses of this year's GD Goenka International Model United Nations Conference, Moods of Mun.
I was scared of dentists and the dark. I was scared of pretty girls and starting conversations. All my friends are turning green. Yeah, the magician's assistant in their dream. Oh.
she's destined for the screen. Closest thing to Michelle Pfeiffer that you've ever seen. Oh, lady, running down to the riptide, taken away to the dark side. I wanna be your left-hand man. I love you when you're singing that song, and I got a lump in my throat 'cause you gonna sing the words wrong. Oh, lady, running down to the riptide, taken away to the dark side. I wanna be your left-hand man. I love you when you're singing that song, and I got a lump in my throat 'cause you're gonna sing the words wrong. Oh, lady, running down to the riptide, taken away to the dark side. I wanna be your left-hand man. I love you when you're singing that song, and I got a lump in my throat 'cause you're gonna sing the words wrong. Yeah, I got a lump in my throat 'cause you're gonna sing the words wrong. Oh, and they come unstuck. Lady, running down to the riptide, taken away to the dark side. I wanna be your left-hand man. I love you when you're singing that song, and I got a lump in my throat 'cause you're gonna sing the words wrong. Oh, lady, running down to the riptide, taken away to the dark side. I wanna be your left-hand man. I love you when you're singing that song, and I got a lump in my throat 'cause you're gonna sing the words wrong. Yeah, I got a lump.
Good evening. We are extremely honored to have with us as the chief guest today, Ms. Sushma Arora Kapoor, the former Deputy Regional Director, UN Women, and former Senior Vice President, Global Health Strategies. Ms. Sushma Kapoor has worked with UN Women for several years in New York and in India. The last position she held with UN Women was as the Deputy Regional Director in its South Asia Regional Office in Delhi. She had under her mandate all 8 countries in South Asia: Afghanistan, Bangladesh, Bhutan, India, Maldives, Nepal, Pakistan, and Sri Lanka. She has also worked on HIV and other communicable diseases with UNICEF in New York and in Florence, Italy. She held the position of gender coordinator with the International AIDS Vaccine Initiative, both in India and New York, and has implemented programs in India, Kenya, Uganda, and South Africa on gender-specific issues related to AIDS vaccine trials. Her last assignment was as Senior Vice President at Global Health Strategies in their Delhi office. At GHS, she worked on women's reproductive health and rights. Ms. Kapoor brings extensive knowledge in advancing the issues of gender equality and gender justice, women's empowerment, and women's health in global, regional, and national arenas. She has worked with national governments in various parts of the globe, with women's groups, health practitioners, and with civil society partners. In addition, Ms. Kapoor has designed and managed advocacy and communications campaigns aimed at governments, NGOs, communities, and the media. She has also been a documentary filmmaker focusing on social justice and rights, particularly on issues of women and the girl child. Ms. Kapoor has a master's in English literature from Brown University, USA, and also from the University of Allahabad, India. She has spent several years in Cambridge, UK, during which she ran a women's cooperative for ethnic minorities in Cambridge County. Her academic experience includes teaching English literature both at the undergraduate and graduate levels. We are grateful to you, ma'am, for your edifying presence at the GDGIMUN 21, and we would now like to request you to enlighten us with your astute insight and wisdom. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the chief guest, Ms. Sushma Kapoor.
Thank you. Can you hear me? Because there's a message which says, unmute yourself, and I have unmuted my. Can you hear me now? Hello?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am. you're
All
audible.
right. Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Honorable Principal, Madam Meenakshi, the teachers, student delegates. I'm deeply honored to be here with all of you. And I was listening to some of the students and the song for the last 15, 20 minutes. And I must say, I am so impressed. But this is what I wanted to start by saying, that I have the deepest admiration and respect for the young people of our country. You are smart, you're dynamic, you're creative, you're ready to take risks, and you're ready to think out of the box and ready to take up challenges. I have worked with a lot of young people in my various jobs, young students who came in as interns, etc. And what you have is more information than any previous generation. And therefore, you are at the cutting edge of a fast-paced world. Today, India is a young nation. We have 605 million people below the age of 25 and 225 million in the age group of 10 to 19 years. This means that for the next 40 years, India will have a youthful, dynamic, and productive workforce when the rest of the world, including China, please note this, including China, they will have an aging population. Studies indicate that in 20 years, the labor force in the industrialized world will decline by 4%. In China, it will decline by 5%. But in India, it will increase by 32%. Let me just check. Am I audible to everybody? I suppose I am.
Yes, ma'am.
So, having given you some of those statistics, I would like to say that you have a lot riding on your shoulders. Your potential and your contributions to your nation will make the difference in making this country, in taking this country into its new chapter and making it the world force that we want it to become. But meanwhile, as we are all aware, the COVID pandemic has disrupted every aspect of our lives. So many of us, families, have lost their loved ones. But it has also impacted the social, economic life in our country and every country across the globe. In our country in particular, even before the onset of COVID, we know that the social and economic disparities were very stark. I'm sure you're aware of the tragic contradictions that prevail in our country. Contradictions between abject poverty and ostentatious wealth on the other hand. Gnawing hunger and shameful food waste. Elite education for the privileged few and ill-equipped schools for a large majority. That is the reality in our country. And this pandemic has deepened the learning crisis that already existed. Children are being asked to learn remotely through digital tools, making the stark digital divide even more apparent. UNESCO data shows that half of the students out of school due to COVID-19 can't access online learning because they don't have access to a smartphone or a computer at home or don't have internet available. You read reports, you watch news, and that's what you hear all the time, that the children, it's almost been a wasted year going on to 2 years now because they have no access to online learning. Millions of young people have not been able to access skill development opportunities that could enable them to get a good job or start a business. Businesses have shut down, as we all know. and it has made employment a scarcity. A new ILO study, the International Labour Organization study, indicates that more than 1 in 6 young people have stopped working since the onset of the pandemic. Adolescents like you from privileged backgrounds have faced education uncertainties, restrictions on your mobility, and restrictions on your freedom to socialize. And this has taken a toll on the mental and physical well-being of many young people, not to say the adults as well. But I'd like to come back to the theme that I started with. I want to talk about you, the young people who are the future of this country. You have to innovate, and you have to come up with transformative solutions to address today's challenges and build a sustainable future. While reading about the UN, as you've been preparing for your various committees, you must have come across the Sustainable Development Goals. Now, the underlying principle of these goals is to leave no one behind. Think about it deeply, leaving no one behind. You can be a force to transform the existing inequities and unsustainable lifestyles. You can take inspiration from young role models such as Malala Yousafzai or Greta Thunberg. Malala fought against a very repressive regime in her own country. And Greta went against the force of powerful nations in the West. In her Nobel acceptance speech, Malala challenged her listeners to make a difference in societies that are still fraught with neglect. She said, "Let us become the first generation that decides to be the last that sees empty classrooms, lost childhoods, and wasted potentials." I do want you to reflect on this because this is such a reality in our own country where children have such little access to education. Greta, coming to her, when she addressed the world leaders at the UN Climate Summit, she spoke very bluntly to them. She said, and these were world leaders, delegates, all sitting there, senators, she said, "You are failing us." But the young people are starting to understand your betrayal. The eyes of all future generations are upon you. And if you choose to fail us, I say, we will never forgive you. Very harsh words, but a very clear message to all the delegates there. So like Malala and Greta, you need courage. The courage to fight for justice, the courage to fight for the right to a life of dignity and equality for all, especially those who do not have the voice to demand it for themselves. You need to have the courage to challenge the practices and actions that are destroying the planet above all. All of you are from privileged backgrounds. You can make the choice whether you wish to lose yourself in consuming more and more material things and comforts, or you can choose to become more self-realized individuals who learn to question, to build a deeper understanding of the world around you and of the human condition. You can choose to develop compassion for those less privileged and less fortunate than you. You can choose to live a sustainable life and make sure that all those around you and the big corporate houses, etc., are accountable as far as sustainability with regard to the environment and climate change is concerned. Do not fall into the trap of middle-class apathy that plagues many in our nation. Their mindset generally is, why should I bother as long as my life is not affected? Instead of apathy, develop empathy. By being engaged in forums such as the MUN, I know that you have already begun to question the status quo. You're becoming aware of issues and you're seeking ways to mitigate problems in society. But I have one plea. And the plea is, please don't treat the MUN as an academic exercise, as something that will fetch you good grades or take you to such conferences. Let these issues touch your hearts and your minds. If each one of you pledges to speak up against injustice and discrimination, and if you join hands to take action, however small that action is, believe me, you can transform the nation, you can transform the planet, and in the process, transform yourself. Your song said it all. Your song said that, Mama says, leave a legacy, write your own destiny, have a vision. And that's exactly what I'm also talking about. And I think your slogan itself is time to act, time to change. And that's my message here tonight, this evening as well. It is you young people out there, it is your time, it is your turn, and it is your future. So seize the moment, and may the force be with you. God bless you all. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am, for your enlightening words. Srivat Pandey, the Director General of the MUN Society and Conference, will now share his experiences with us.
Thank you, Ria. Thank you, Ria. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. At the outset, I would like to thank Thank you, Ria. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. At the outset, I would like to thank each one of you for being a part of the most awaited online conference of the year, GDGIMUN 2021. It is indeed an honor and privilege for me to serve as the Director General of GDGIMUN International Model United Nations Conference 2021. For the past 10 months, I, along with Aprajita Sinha, Ansh Kapoor, and our fellow secretariat, have been working tirelessly with just one goal in mind. That was to make GDGIMUN not only the best online MUN conference, but also the best online MUN conference in the whole MUN circuit. In our quest to carry forward the legacy bestowed upon us by our seniors, Hardik Chetul, Raghav Makkar, and Harman Singh Sachdeva, we gave all we had and more to make this conference memorable and phenomenal for each and every participant in any capacity. With the onset of the COVID-19 pandemic, our seniors had no choice but to call off the GDGIMUN 2020 conference. We fervently hoped that we would get to host it in the following year, and in 2021, our hopes were brought to the fruition. Under the guidance and support of our esteemed principal, Mrs. Meenakshi Bhakuni, and our school management, the Secretariat proudly presented before you the 8th and the first ever online edition of the GDGIMUN conference. Ladies and gentlemen, I have been a part of this MUN society for 5 years now, and with the constant support of our chef de cabinet, Ms. Mala Agarwal, and charge d'affaires, Mrs. Mukti Suhag, our all-over teacher coordinator, Mrs. Vani Arora,
the best advisors I could ever get. Our Chief Advisor Hardik Chetal and Senior Advisor Harman Singh Sachdeva. I've been able to accomplish all that I had dreamed of. The Secretariat members of GDGIMUN 21 have come a long way from the days as delegates to working day and night as the members of the Secretariat. When you're a delegate, you don't necessarily realize the tremendous work that goes behind the scenes. Every little detail is thought through and is then planned. It was serious at times for me and my Secretariat. But seeing all of this coming together, seeing all of you here at GDGIMUN 2021, I feel all the hard work that we've put in to organize this conference was worth it. The months of discussion and planning have been extremely exhilarating and rewarding experience for each of us. And we firmly believe that GDGIMUN is the best. In my opinion, what makes this conference is the best and unique is that this is not my conference or Aparajita's conference or the Secretariat's conference. It is each of us. It is that thread that weaves together every facet of the intellectual debate and stellar organization skills throughout our school. Each conference that I've been a part of in these 5 years has brought me a new lesson to learn, a new challenge to face, a new experience to gain, which has eventually transformed me into something better and greater. I know each one of you has worked every day and night very hard to win an award or perhaps to gain a delightful experience. And there might be a few of you who might be sad later this evening if you don't win an award here. However, dear delegates, let me tell you one thing. The important thing in life is not trying. The valuable thing is the struggle and learning from the experience you gain while struggling. Winning won't teach you things you learn when you lose in life. Each time you lose a conference, don't be disheartened. Don't let yourself down. Let me tell you, that's what makes you stronger and tougher. If you fail, just pick yourself up. But don't forget, you might fall again. Just remember, without this struggle, what is anyone's success anyway? Whenever you get your next opportunity, move and prove. Remember, you must always have a passion to achieve something. I would like to thank each and every participant of this MUN. It was your effort, research, debate, deliberation, hard work, struggle, and passion to win an award. All the delegates, executive board members, and the international press members that made this conference success. But the most important thing that we know is the emotional attachment of each one of you to this conference. Your support and loyalty has made us achieve success, which makes not only me, but all the members of the Secretariat be more grateful to you all for that. This GDGI Model United Nations is truly a special conference, and I am sure you'll surely never forget this experience. Treasure each moment of these 2 days at GDGI MUN and hold your memories. Experiences, friendships close to your heart. MUNs often come under criticism for not only reflecting what real-world diplomacy represents, and for just being a medium that engages the adolescents in their free time. However, dear delegates, pay closer attention to what you've accomplished. You all have contemplated over and formulated policies on some of the most pressing issues of today's time. You have devised solutions and strategies and made them compatible with your respective governments. And hence, I believe we haven't reflected reality over the last few days, delegates, because we have outdone reality here at GDGI MUN. It is my hope that in the upcoming years, this conference plays to continue this significant role. Now, I would like to thank our Secretary General Aparajita Sinha for being such an incredible leader, the most affectionate member of this society, a very supportive friend, and the one we constantly relied on. Ladies and gentlemen, she's an inspiration for all of us and without a doubt, the biggest asset of this society. Chance made us colleagues, but the fun, happiness, craziness, and the memories we created over the journey of the past 10 months of this GDGI MUN made us good friends. Thank you, Aparajita, for all the hard work, for everything you did for me and for this conference. And thank you for having my back throughout this conference. I'd like to express my gratitude to our esteemed teachers and advisors, Mala ma'am, Mukti ma'am, Anisha ma'am, Hardik Bhaiya and Harman Bhaiya for guiding us throughout this conference journey. Thank you for opening our eyes to new opportunities and holding a mirror up to our strengths. We will always be grateful to you for your assistance and kindness. I would also like to thank my partner, my colleague Ansh Kapoor. You were a great person to work with, and I truly appreciate this time and effort you've put in. Thank you for being such a good companion. I want to now express my gratitude for our Under Secretary General Delegate Affairs, Sparsh Jain, the most effective and efficient member of this secretariat and the one who's worked for this conference with great enthusiasm and determination. The one who's always worked tirelessly to help us make this conference a success. Thank you, Sparsh, for being the best. Your dedication is unsurpassable. Thank you, Rachita ma'am, Shalu ma'am, Rakhi ma'am, Rajesh sir, Raksha ma'am, Neeta Rana ma'am, Nikesh sir, John sir, for being a part of this journey. And I would like to thank my fellow secretariat members from the bottom of my heart. And lastly, I would like to thank the future of GDGIMUN. The two members of our society, Sparsh Jain and Shivani Mehra, the ones who will be carrying out the legacy of GDGIMUN forward. Ladies and gentlemen, because of these two, we believe that the future of GDGIMUN is certainly very bright and our legacy is in incredible hands. I now conclude by letting you all know one thing that I have realized today. To accomplish great things, we must not only act, but also dream. Not only plan, but also believe. Dream, believe, and achieve. With that being said, we believe that it is indeed time to act and time to change. Thank you.
Thank you, Shrivas. That was indeed amazing. And now comes the most exciting moment of the day, the award ceremony. We begin by appreciating and awarding the indefatigable diligence and leadership abilities of the Secretariat. We begin with the chef de cabinet, Ms. Mala Agarwal, the charge d'affaires, Ms. Mukti Suhag. Ma'am, I request you to kindly present the awards to the Secretariat. Chief Advisor, Hardik Chetal. Senior Advisor, Harman Singh. Secretary General, Aprajita Sinha. Director General, Shrivats Pandey. Director General, Ansh Kapoor. Director General, Samaksh Chibbar. Under Secretary General, Delegate Affairs, Sparsh Jain. Under Secretary General, Finance, Ansh Tiwari. Under Secretary General, Executive Board Affairs, Ashin Sethi. Under Secretary General, Design, Shivani Mehra. Head of IT, Aryan Taneja. Head of IT, Arshdeep Kaur. Under Secretary General, Photography, Adya Arora. Teacher Coordinator, Ms. Vani Arora. Thank you, ma'am. Teacher Coordinator, Ms. Vani Arora. Teacher Coordinator, Ms. Meeru Pandey. Teacher Advisor Finance, Ms. Chalu Gupta. Teacher Advisor Organizing Committee, Ms. Rakhi Sharma. Teacher Advisor Information Technology, Mr. Rajesh Sethi. Teacher Advisor International Press and Information Technology, Ms. Raksha Panjwani. Teacher Advisor International Press, Ms. Meeta Rana. We also recognize and appreciate the diligence and commitment of all the teacher and student committee heads. I would now like to invite the Chief Advisor of GDGIMUN 2021, Hardik Chetal, to announce the awards for the various committees and delegations. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Rachita ma'am. A very good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Hardik Chetal and I am the Chief Advisor of GDGIMUN 2021. I would like to start off by saying it has been an absolute pleasure advising this brilliant secretariat full of hardworking, dedicated, and enthusiastic students who never let me down and always rose to the challenge and completed their work on time. And I never had to repeat any instruction I ever gave. They were very understanding and they were very, very dedicated in their endeavor of pulling off the most successful GDGIMUN conference that has ever taken place. I would like to give all of my gratitude to the whole secretariat. I would like to thank our respected chief guest, our respected principal ma'am, Ms. Meenakshi Bhakuni, and all the other dignitaries present here, the teachers, and all the delegates that made it to the Model United Nations conference we just organized. Before I start with the awards, I would like to thank the executive board in particular, who took time out of their busy schedules and made it to the conference and moderated the committees not only well, but exceedingly amazingly well, and provided the delegates with a lovely experience. Having done a few MUNs in my own time, I can tell you for sure that it is not the trophies that are going to be in your mind or you're going to ponder upon once you're done with your education. It is what you learn, it is what you become, the skill sets you learn, the way you think, the way you question, the way you speak, the way you listen, the way you dress, and the way you convince each other of what is right and what is wrong, how you formulate an opinion. All these things are going to stay with you for the rest of your life. MUNs have changed quite a bit, not only since COVID began, but in the past 3 to 4 years, with many conferences taking place. But I can tell you with all my soul and all my honesty that GDGI MUN this year, be it online, has been completely old school, completely classic, and an absolutely wonderful experience where the only things that matter are the debate and the delegates and nothing else. We would like to start by announcing the International Press Awards first, beginning with the special mention for the journalists. The special mention for journalists goes to Ayana Raheja. The High Com for journalists goes to Rabani Gujral. The best journalist goes to Nikita. Beginning with the committees, I would like to start by announcing the awards for the Historical Indian War Cabinet, which has been the flagship committee of GDGIMUN for all of its editions. This year, the Indian War Cabinet discussed the 1947 Kashmir conflict, which took place after the partition and the independence of our country. It was chaired by Mr. Siddharth Kapoor with Ashur Kaul as the vice chairperson. The special mentions are in no order. The first special mention goes to Jawaharlal Nehru. The second special mention goes to Rob Lockhart. And the best delegate for the Indian War Cabinet goes to Dudley Russell. Moving on to the United Nations Security Council, which was discussing the Israel-Palestine conflict with Mr. Rahul Krishna as the chairperson and Mr. Karan Kasturi Sharma as the vice chairperson. The special mentions are in no order. The first special mention goes to the United States of America. The second special mention goes to Jordan. And the third special mention goes to China. The High Commendation for the United Nations Security Council goes to the Russian Federation. And the best delegate is awarded to the delegate of Syria. Next, we have the United Nations Commission on the Status of Women, which was chaired by Ms. Anya Wig, vice chaired by Ms. Vanshika Jha, and co-vice chaired by Mr. Chirag Nagpal. We have two verbal mentions, which go to the delegates of Algeria and Pakistan. We have three special mentions in no particular order, which go to the delegate of Canada, the delegate of Afghanistan, and the delegate of Russia. We have two high commendations in the committee. Sorry, we have three high commendations for this committee, given the huge size, which had almost 80 to 90 delegates. The first high commendation, in no particular order, goes to China. The second high commendation goes to the delegate of Luxembourg. And the third high commendation goes to the delegate of United Kingdom. The best delegate for the UNCSW goes to the delegate of Montenegro. Next, we have the World Health Organization, which discussed the COVID pandemic, which was chaired by Mr. Pratham Sharma and vice chaired by Mr. Ashin Sethi. The honorable mentions are in no particular order. We have four honorable mentions. The first honorable mention goes to South Africa. The second honorable mention goes to Japan. The third honorable mention goes to Philippines. The fourth one goes to the delegate of Canada. We have three special mentions, all in a particular order. The first special mention goes to the delegate of Netherlands. The second special mention goes to China. And the third special mention goes to Panama. We have two high commendations. Both of them are in a particular order. The second high commendation goes to the delegate of United Kingdom. The first high commendation goes to the delegate of Russia. And the best delegate for WHO, which had approximately 65 to 70 delegates, goes to the delegate of United States of America. Next, we have the international organizations of the security commissions, or the International Organization of the Security Commissions. We have three honorable mentions. The first one goes to the delegate of Singapore. The second one goes to the delegate of India. The third one goes to the delegate of Norway. We have five special mentions for this committee. They are in a particular order. The fifth special mention goes to the delegate of Chinese Taipei. The fourth special mention goes to the delegate of Japan. The third special mention goes to the delegate of Russia. The second special mention goes to the delegate of Peru. And the first special mention goes to FCA of United Kingdom. Please listen to the high commendation and best delegate clearly. The high commendation goes to the CFTC of USA. And the best delegate goes to the SEC, that is the Securities Exchange Commission of USA. Moving on to the AIPPM, which was chaired by Mr. Nikhil Goyal. The best delegate, I'm really sorry. I read the name and I wanted to announce the best delegate first. We have 3 honorable mentions. The honorable mention goes to Mr. Shashi Tharoor. The second honorable mention goes to Mr. Asaduddin Owaisi. And the third honorable mention goes to Mr. Rahul Gandhi. After which we have 1 special mention award, which goes to Mr. Chandrababu Naidu. The high commendation goes to Captain Amrinder Singh. The best delegate award goes to Sonia Gandhi. The next committee that we have is a committee that has been created by the Secretariat of GDGIMUN in its previous edition, and we are the only conference to simulate it, which is the Indian Film Stakeholders Meet. Before I announce the award, I would like to say that the Indian Film Stakeholders Meet is a very, very new concept, but it is a very important one, given how the art in our country has been suffering in the past decade. And it is a way to make sure that the laws which pertain to the film industry and other industries related to the film industry are discussed and deliberated upon, and there is awareness about them. Because all of us watch movies, but not all of us know what really goes on behind the scenes and what actually happens when the curtain is drawn. The IFSM was chaired by Mr. Maheen Tiwari. We have 3 verbal mentions, which go to Narendra Modi. The second verbal mention goes to Mr. Mahesh Bhatt. The third verbal mention goes to Ms. Swara Bhaskar. We have 3 special mentions, but the second special mention, which is in a particular order, has been tied between 2 delegates. So the second special mention goes to Karan Johar and Arnab Goswami. There was no difference between these 2 delegates, hence they've been given the second special mention, which is the same award. The first special mention goes to Mr. Amit Shah. The high commendation for this committee goes to Mr. Akshay Kumar. And the best delegate goes to Mr. Rahul Gandhi. Last but not the least, we have the United Nations General Assembly. A very peculiar fact about our United Nations General Assembly being that whenever we hold an offline conference, we always simulate the UNGA. But due to whatever reasons, we always have around 70 to 80 delegates. This time, being an online UNGA, we reached the target of 115 delegates, and we had active participation in the committee from over 100 delegates, which is a huge achievement for us. The UNGA was chaired by Mr. Rudraksh Lakha and vice-chaired by Mr. Apar Mehta. We have the special mentions in a particular order. The fourth special mention goes to the delegate of Togo. The third special mention has been shared by the delegate of Tunisia and Singapore, because again, they had the same number of points. Please give them a round of applause. The second special mention Wait, that's the first special mention goes to the delegate of Russia. I apologize for the numbering. The high commendations are in a particular order. The third high commendation goes to the delegate of China. The second high commendation goes to the delegate of Italy. And the first high commendation goes to the delegate of United Kingdom. The Best Delegate Award for the United Nations General Assembly goes to the delegate of United States of America. I would like to congratulate all the award winners, and I would like to leave a word of advice for all those who did not win an award. You never lose. You either win or you learn. So please do not be disheartened if you did not win an award this evening. There will be many more to come, and I hope you keep participating in Model United Nations and keep learning about things which revolve around us in our globe. I would also like to apologize for missing a few names from the executive board. I'm sure you know who you are. Thank you so much for attending our conference and doing a phenomenal job. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Hardik. I would now like to invite the Secretary General, Aprajita Sinha, to say a few words. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you all for being here today. I'm sure you're all very tired, but if you could, bear with me for a bit. At the beginning of the conference, I told you all that I believed in your ability to meet the high demands of knowledge and diplomacy. Over the course of your deliberations, your work and cooperation have shown inordinate abilities in this regard. I myself remember what it was like to be in your shoes and appreciate the hard work that goes into preparing for these conferences. Truly, I'm grateful for the experience that has set me here. Model UN has molded my personality into what it is today. And MUN is probably the only pedestal where your name, your past, or who you are does not matter, but it will certainly help to define those things. I walked into my first conference as a tiny, naive girl with a third world country, a girl guilty of trembling knees while giving her speech and a shaky hand every time my hand went up for the placard. But MUNs are a way to make a change, and here I am today, the Secretary General, and the hope to make a change in these insuperable circumstances in our diverse world seems far-fetched. But the smallest changes make a huge difference when we look at the bigger picture. A platform to entrench your words and opinions in the minds of the people you meet and make a difference at the end of the 2 days. That's the real purpose of MUNs, contrary to its image as an allure of awards and fancy clothes. That being said, heartiest congratulations to all the winners. And as said before, don't get disheartened because you made your mark and that's what matters. The Secretariat couldn't be happier to see all of you participating with such zeal and enthusiasm. We sincerely hope that you enjoyed attending this conference as much as we did organizing it. It has been one of the most memorable 4 months. The appreciation of everyone's passion, hard work, talent, and teamwork, all for one purpose, the success of the conference, is something I cannot put into words. Even in challenging times like yesterday, as you all are aware, we faced a lot of technical issues, but we all came together and came to a solution. When we put our minds together, we always resolve these issues. And that's what's most important. Staying together, whether it be a celebration or overcoming an obstacle. Now, a special thanks to Principal Ma'am for always being our guiding angel, Menaka Ma'am and Anisha Ma'am for making this whole conference happen, the pillars of GDGIMUN, Mala Ma'am, our chef de cabinet, and Mukti Ma'am, the charge d'affaires. Also, Vani Ma'am, who's always been with us. Ma'am, without your guiding hands, our MUN society would not even exist today. A big shout out to Shalu Ma'am, our financial wizard, Rajesh Sir and Raksha Ma'am, our IT geniuses, Rachita Ma'am, Meeru Ma'am, Rohina Ma'am, and Neeta ma'am, our very own Shashi Tharoors, and to the whole organizing committee heads and teachers, especially Rakhi ma'am. A special thanks also to all the staff members who work behind the scenes, Mukesh sir, John sir, Pradyuman sir, Rajesh sir. Without their hard work, we wouldn't even be standing here. I would also like to thank our sagacious advisors, especially Hardik, who, if I may add, also are the ones who left us this beautiful legacy. Now, I feel short of words to express our gratitude towards my sedulous teammates, the revolutionary secretariat of GDGIMUN. A big shout out to all of them. Srivatsa, our most hardworking Director General, Ansh Kapoor, my companion, Ashan, Sparsh, Shivani, Ansh Tiwari, Aryan, Arshdeep, and all the others who worked. They are the ones who stood by me throughout these 5-6 months. With their teamwork, talent, hard work, motivation, and most of all, friendship, I can safely say, and with a pinch of overconfidence, say that this has been one of the best editions of GDGIMUN, if I may add, with the highest number of participants, that's more than 500. They are an inspiration and the greatest support systems who have the same vision and end goal for our conference that I did. They're the strangers that turned into friends and now are family. And truly, I couldn't have asked for a better family. Each year, we at GDGIMUN try to bring to you something bigger and better. We hope this year as well, you take back with you a bucket full of knowledge and unforgettable memories. With that thought, ladies and gentlemen, I can safely say that we have begun to act and are ready to make the change.
I, the Director General Srivatsa Pandey.
I, the Ansh Kapoor, the Director General.
And I, Aprajita Sinha, the Secretary General,
With a heavy heart, now declare this conference closed.
Thank you, Aprajita. We now request everyone to kindly rise for the national anthem.
जनगण मन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड उत्कल बंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्चल जलधि तरंगा तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष मांगे गाहे तव जय गाथा जन गण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य